Now, it's one thing to discuss a game on the verge of its death, and it's another to discuss it right after. However, trying to discuss a game 6 months after its end of service would be basically hard-moding it. Well, it would be, if the absolute atrocity of its design didn't stick with me. Well, that, and the fact I wrote down some notes too. So, do you notice anything in this footage? If you didn't, how about we rewind for a second? Yeah, sure, Blanky. Just go ahead and phase through the fucking wall. Who gives a shit at this point? Pac-Man Mobile got shut down and delisted this last May. Crazy to think that the mobile version of one of the most ported games of all time, as well as the game partially known for its pick-up-and-play quality, is not playable on our phones in any official capacity. But knowing the quality standards we were working with here, it's not hard to see why. Ignoring the additional features, even playing the original arcade game in this way was not the most ideal, since I recall the controls feeling really ass. However, we're not here to talk about that. No, we're here to talk about the other side of Pac-Man Mobile. That being the original mazes that were all compiled into this game's story mode. Emphasis on the quotation marks, because what story? There was little to no story in this story mode at all. Hell, even the original arcade game had more of a story. Pac-Man is one of the earliest instances of a game having cutscenes, so that makes this story mode all the more ironic. Maybe there's inklings of a plot within the map screen. Yeah, no. Okay, so I'm clearly just nitpicking here. As is, there are far bigger issues this game had. One of those being the level design. It's terrible in all the ways you'd expect. Is every maze terrible? No. Some were decent, but most of the time you get ones that just suck. They commit the usual maze design sins you'd expect. You know, stuff like, say it with me now, dead ends, messy alignment, and stretches that go on for far too long. And I'm not new to complaining about things like this with crappy Pac-Man maze titles, but this game had some particularly strange maze layouts. Now, if you've ever heard me talk about this game in the past, or are someone I've discussed this game with before, you probably know where I'm heading with this.
I don't mean right now.
I'm gonna have you in a rip.
That is thing to judge.
Yes! I fucking love when my level design looks like a fucking intestinal tract. I don't know how much I can emphasize how fucking hilarious this piece of level design is. How about this level that's shaped like a big fat L? How about these levels that are just a bunch of fucking squares? Does Pac-Man of all games seriously need a mindless tutorial stage meant to slowly ease the player into the game? It's fucking Pac-Man! This level looks like a Pac Dot with a swollen pimple. Gah! Why does this shit look like one of those weird art pieces you'd see in the background of a Frasier episode? Are those nipples? What are they feeding these fucking developers? God, the amount of times this game had levels that resemble intestinal tracts with these long-ass hallways. No, not even that. Just the amount of levels that are mostly, if not entirely, composed of these long hallways that make it really easy to unfairly get trapped and killed. This game had this borderline obsession with these stupid hallways. Oh, and I can't forget how there would be levels with no power pellets whatsoever. Some even having extra hazards too. Isn't that fun? With this obtuse design, the game tries to band-aid these level design issues with power-ups, hiding spots, as well as cutting down the amount of ghosts. But these are nothing but band-aids to bad design. The power-ups in particular feel like they're there just because, and are not particularly baked into the game's design, like an arrangement. Hell, even 256 handled power-ups better and actually felt tied to that game's core. In that game, you were basically running and gunning through hordes of ghost enemies. The overpowered power-ups played into that. Here, the power-ups completely flip the power dynamic in your favor to a degree that trivializes your interactions with the ghosts, making the levels where they're used feel mindless. They might be a little fun, but they don't give you a strategic edge so much as they give you the means to walk all over everything. In other words, they are not nuanced or subtle, they are tasteless and lukewarm. But they alright? Yeah, I don't know about that. If the moment-to-moment gameplay being as bad as it wasn't enough, its structure and pacing is also pretty damn terrible. It follows the standards of every other level-based mobile game, and this game may as well have been a good example of my disdain for mobile games in general. It all begins with one of the worst life systems I've ever seen in a game. You're limited to 5. And there's a 30-minute waiting period for a single life to be refilled. And considering all the stupid bullshit ways you can die, I'm already inclined to be disagreeable with this on principle. Especially since I was rushing to archive as much of this game as possible. But it gets worse somehow. The levels also have 3 extra missions to fulfill, each granting a star. You would have wanted to get as many stars as possible, since the game would on occasion gain access to other levels with a star requirement. And once again, I made another fuck up. Potentially. I potentially made another fuck up. Because, looking back on the footage, trying to, research footage of this game, elsewhere, I think I may have either misremembered that or got it mixed up with something else, because I don't think there was actually any actual instance of the game gating off progress through a star threshold. I may have misremembered that. Now, the thing is, you still did want to get as many stars as possible because if you got enough stars, the game would reward you with things that would make it more tolerable. So, yeah, you were still heavily incentivized, which makes some of the missions that the game requires you to earn stars still really fucking stupid, but I don't think it was ever fully a requirement for progressing on certain intervals. So please tell me, in this game, where you're encouraged to complete as many missions as possible that also has a rigid as hell life system, why the fuck is there a mission that requires you to kill yourself? Like, this is beyond bad game design. It's so stupid that it circles back to being funny, but it goes to show how utterly baffling this disaster piece is. Now yes, it's possible to refill lives quicker, but these means are draining on a resource and mental standpoint. You can use the tokens you earn to buy lives, but this ends up eating into other resources you need, as sometimes you'll hit a level where you'll need to purchase a power-up in order to fulfill a mission. You were essentially caught into this cycle of getting beaten down by bad design and paying, so you can get beat down by more bad design. Now, if you're an idiot, you could pay real money to get more tokens, but I'd seriously hope nobody would actually do that. Alternatively, you could watch ads to earn more tokens and extra lives. Yeah, as if there weren't already enough stupid ads that bog down the pace.
No, we are family! I'm Alan's sister! I'm Tina!
Oh! Is this the
Story in the story mode?
Where do you get the nerve to pretend you're Alan's sister?
Damn! I didn't know Pac-Man lore could get this wild! These fucking ads are something else, man. Like, these live-action commercials where these people are unconvincingly getting hyped over fucking Scrabble?
I got it! Woohoo! Alright, let me try. Have you tried this new letter lock game? Ooh, I got one! Nice! Yeah!
Guys, it's fucking Scrabble. It's not that impressive. I get people who are competitive over Wordle. Like, that shit's intense. But Scrabble? God, the amount of shovelware I've been subjected to. I could go the rest of my life never seeing these copy-paste number crunching games ever again. Legitimately, I think going out of your way to play these might actually shrink your brain. Oh shit, Galaga? Dog, I fucking love Galaga! Let me play some Galaga! Oh. That's not Galaga. Oh hell yeah, Super Mario! I fucking love Super Mario Brothers. Let's fucking go. You're not Mario. Oh. How could I be so foolish? How could you lie to me? Like that. You made me think that you were Mario. Is this how you see me? As some sort of fool? Is this how you see me? Bob! Nice one, Bob. Nice one, Bob. Real super of you, Bob. Real super of you, Bob. Real super of you to play me like a fool, Bob. Yeah, Super Bob Run. Yeah. Yeah. Occasionally, you'll run into a minigame that'll either be a whack-a-mole or a memory matching card game. The whack-a-mole one is whatever, but the memory matching minigame may as well be the final nail in the coffin, further solidifying this disaster piece as one of the worst Pac-Man games. Might be an odd thing to emphasize that title with, but considering that in most other games, minigames like these are optional if not entirely bonus segments meant to be side challenges that reward the player with things that'll help them. Here, there is only a slight chance of you getting a significant reward. They're just another barrier towards progression. Not just that, but even failing them will cost you a life, which is beyond bullshit! This is like if in Mario 3, you'd have to beat the gambling minigames in order to progress, and were punished with losing a life if you failed any of them. There were some memory matching levels late into the game that I got stuck on for a significant amount of time, losing life after life, constantly wasting resources just so I could beat it. Trying to archive this crap before it was all shut down made it even more stressful and frustrating. Maybe I'm going about this wrong. Maybe we should get all Billy Mitchell up in this joint and cheat. Screenshot, go to the gallery to study the screenshot, go back to the game, and... oh. It reset. Yeah, if you go into another tab, the game will go, "Fuck you!" and reset. This also had a risk of happening if you were to accidentally click on an ad, which was a very likely occurrence, by the way. I recall this happening after beating a level and being forced to have to beat the level a second time, which is so fun! But there was also an instance where the game soft-locked and undid progress for several levels, for some reason, to which I had to redo up to 5 or more levels. Oh boy. This game did not function well at all. Also, the game was just an eyesore. The maze textures looked really dull and used colors that are really flat. It tries to play off the original's aesthetics, but fails, and the random clip art they used throughout the levels really screamed,
"Graphic design is my passion."
Now, I know what counterpoint some might express. Some of you might say that, well, of course you had a bad time because you were binging a game you're supposed to only play in short bursts. Which is semi-true, except I didn't have the time to play this in short bursts if I wanted to archive as much of this game as I could. Though, the funny thing is that this game didn't even get shut down when it was supposed to. Yeah, they forgot to shut it down, so it still had a few more days where you could play it. They just didn't care, I guess. But even a year and a half before this game's shutdown was announced, I did play a good amount of the story mode, mainly for a certain bit in a video that remains unfinished and unreleased at the moment. And even then, I was taking it slow, but was still astounded by how terrible it all was. And I just love level design! Oh, I'm such a level design jack! Oh, look at the funny and cool mazes! Who cares if they abide by maze design philosophies and nuances and play well. And I know some of you might accuse me of having standards that are too high, but they really weren't high. This game just sunk to certain lows, rivaling that of games like Pac-Man Geo and Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures 3DS. But hey, what do you expect from a current age mobile game? The majority of them are predatory slop. Except it wasn't always that way. There was a time when mobile games had some inkling of passion and effort and weren't just poorly designed predatory MTX traps. Even Pac-Man has had better mobile titles, even during the Java era. That said, what comes to mind in particular is 2015's Pac-Man 256, a game I've given shit to in the past. And true, it does have its bullshit, particularly with how grindy it is. But at least its core mechanics, with its enemy designs, bonus fruit implementations, and overpowered power-ups, are designed towards a core focus, and aren't just there for show. And while I haven't played Pac-Man Dash, I've heard good things about it, and it's funny to me how that game seemingly understands Pac-Man better than Pac-Man Mobile Story Mode. With all that has been said, it is odd that Pac-Man still isn't playable on mobile phones in any official capacity, but I'm sure they'll make a new version at some point. Hopefully this hypothetical new version has better controls and just feels better to play, and if they decide to have new mazes, I'd hope they would be better designed. But the first step towards that would be to get someone who can actually cook. Regardless, this is only the penultimate piece of the Pac-Man Mobile Life Surface saga. As is, we have one more destination to arrive at. May the chomps champ next time. Until then, I will see you all later.